Thanks for staying with us. So moving on to our hot topic of the day. Today's report, the United Nations Women on Monday said a total of 11,200 rape cases, including children, were reported to have happened in Nigeria. This report saddened quite a number of us, and we would like to hear your thoughts on this. You can call us on 08127053687, 09139076948. You can also send us messages on YouTube and Facebook. We'll be happy to read your tweets. And the reason why this caught our attention is because we also took a story earlier today where a man raped a receptionist at a hotel, and he had the audacity to go right back into the room because, hey, it's Nigeria and that's going to happen. You know, I'm okay. But thankfully, the police caught up with him, arrested him, and right now he's in prison. But 11,200 cases is no small figure. And for these cases that have been reported, we can also suspect that others that weren't reported that were kept under the wraps. What can we continue to do concerning this issue, this increased number of rape victims in our country? What do we do to change the mindset of our people to respect each other and choose not to rape or hurt another person?
So when I saw the details in the paper, the two things came to my mind. One, we have a culture of silence, and the two, we have a system that protracts justice, that prevents justice. And as long as we don't have speedy judgments and punishment of wrong actions like this, people will feel like they can get away with it. And if people get away with it, it will continue. So, one, we need to increase awareness and keep talking about it so that the culture of silence dies out. And at no point should anybody feel like you can rape and get away with it, because the story of what happened in that hotel that we took in papers today is just so annoying. And many people feel that if I like you and you don't agree, I can still just have my way with you, and you'll be too ashamed to talk about it, or you would be too
you'll be blamed for it.
You'll be blamed for it. That what did she wear? Or the doctor, you get to the police station and they'll say, this matter, maybe you are okay. Maybe you survived. Just thank God that you are okay and move on. So
forgive.
There are many systems that support the growth of these numbers, and those are the systems we need to attack. Thankfully, in Lagos, there's a whole lot being done, but Lagos is not Nigeria. There are many more states in this country that need to embrace a culture and a system in place that would prevent these things from happening.
Let me come to you. Bisi, what were your thoughts when you read this article?
I was, I couldn't even explain how I felt, but I just felt that we're not doing enough to end this. And it's not just in our country. It happens all over the world. And what other people who have been able to come out of it is to ensure that there are policies, there are laws in place that, punish people who are seen to, conduct such acts like raping people, molesting people. Right now, if somebody just says, you stayed close to me, you touched me anyhow, and you're already in trouble. So I think what we need to do is to create more awareness, which is one of the things that the United Nations Women is doing. But it has to be not just that body, but every woman should create an awareness of my body is my body, consent is consent. When I say no, I mean no. When I say yes, I mean yes. And also, especially for those people who go after little children and babies, we should take more steps to ensure that they are put in the right place. Because what I see is they are arrested, for those who finally report to the police, they are taken to the prisons, they are released after a while, and they're back. We haven't sorted the problem that made them do that in the first place. Because anybody who sees a child in diaper and is turned on has a mental problem. Right. So we need to do more in terms of getting professionals in that field to give the sort of help that is needed. They will still be punished for that crime, but if we have to ever release them to the society, we need to give them that help that is needed. We also need to name and shame them. So you have outside the country, you have people who conduct or commit these such acts. Their names are published anywhere you see Mr. Okoroafa and Mr. Okeke together, you know that this person is a child molester or this person is a rapist. The society knows. So people around know how to handle that. Also, women have been known to, I don't know, they've been known to just look away when things happen to people around them because they want to preserve their marriage. They want to preserve the husband. So you know your husband is sleeping with your daughter. Your husband is more important to you than your daughter. You stay in that marriage, allow that girl be raped, allow that girl get pregnant for your husband, and in the name of love, or what will I do? I will not have a husband and all of that. We need to, as women, put our foot down and say, this has got to stop. And we are the ones that will enforce it, not just the men.
Right. So, Mary, let me come to you concerning this data. I mean, this data was for 2020. Yeah. I mean, and it's quite saddening because some were even ripped to death.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so to add to the numbers, it shows that the survey that was conducted, that 43.5% of female children were given out in early marriages, 18.4% of them suffered female genital mutilation, and 17.4% suffered, physical assaults, from an intimate partner. And, we've talked about the rape where you go out and just violate another human being. You have both, spoken about that. But also we need to talk about the culture that looks at child abuse, some form of child abuse, like early marriage, as normal. It's our culture. That's how we've always done it. It may have been our culture. It may be our culture, but it's time to look at this culture critically and, improve and evolve. Look at the times. We have seen over many years how this affects a child, how it affects a girl child, how when a child is given into marriage early, psychologically, physically, she's not ready. Her body is made to carry a child. We understand that scourge of VVF, that really affected a whole region of Nigeria. Young girls who were not ready to carry children, being made to carry children because, first of all, you were given out in marriage. In giving out a child in marriage, you deny her education, any way that she can become empowered to develop herself and hold herself, take care of herself and take care of her children. So that's another part of violence that violence against children we need to look at. I know rape, we can say, oh, this person is sick, but the person who also wants to give his child out in marriage and the person who wants to marry a child too has a problem.
Yeah. But I have to go on a break because at the root cause of all these issues, genital mutilation, the early child marriage, and even rape and other violence, is lack of respect for the girl child. If we look at the end of the day, is that total, complete, the way you perceive a girl child as a property, as something that you can overpower, that you have some kind of control over. So that's and how we fix that problem is what we're going to discuss when we come back. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, before the break, I asked the question. Mara, would you like to take a shot at the question?
Yes, you were saying that how this may be really as a result of patriarchy, how we view women here. And I also feel really, too, in our culture, there's a cultural disrespect for the woman. First of all, you are outside. If you do, I get your type for house. You dare not speak up, where some men are. You are not allowed to voice out how you truly feel about anything unless you're given permission to by a man. Sometimes we hear people, they cannot chase their dreams and be who they want to be because the man in their life or the men in their life would not find it comfortable. So that also brings or you find someone in public, the man does not know you, but the fact that you're a woman, he expects that there's a way that you should behave towards him or relate to him, and that shows respect for him, however he is, however he speaks to you. Why are you speaking to a man like that? The way you are speaking to this man, the way you are speaking, that's how you must be speaking to your husband at home.
Do you have a husband?
Good. So already that puts women in an uncomfortable position where they're afraid to even speak up when something is done against them. So but I feel that in Nigeria, we're talking a lot about it. There's an awareness now. We're bringing up our children to be different. Our boys are realizing that their sisters, and their female friends have the same rights as they do. And so these conversations that we have, and that's a new culture. We're creating a new culture where there's respect across board.
But BC, where do we draw the line between a mental disorder and patriarchy? So a man is doing something because this Fuad we talked about earlier saw a receptionist, 12 a.m., 1 a.m., ripped her. Now, would you say he's effecting the power of patriarchy, or he's just totally mentally deranged?
Okay, so the difference is in the type of person they decide to go after. So not all cases of rape is a mental issue. For some, it's about power. It's about you're a woman, I am a man, I am more superior, I am stronger, I can get what I want from you, however I want it, whenever I want it, and nothing would happen. You are a woman after all. When you go and complain, they will blame you. They will ask you, what did you wear? Why are you working as a receptionist? Why are you sleeping on duty, you know? The blame will be on you. So there's that part of trying to show superiority, and that comes from a place of patriarchy and the fact that there's gender inequality. Once you're a woman, you're seen or perceived to be less than a man, which is what some of these conversations we're having is trying to solve. But the part of the mental derangement is things that are naturally not supposed to even excite you begins to excite you. So you see a baby in diaper, like the baby is not sexy, looking sexy or anything. The baby is just in diaper. You see a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, their body hasn't even formed. There is nothing to touch, nothing to press, and all you can think of is having intimacy with that child. That is, you are abnormal. You are not the normal person. So that's where you can actually draw the line. And I think the punishments should be different. To me, I've always said that when it comes to cases like this, there's a way you just punish so that another person who wants to be mad, see, every mad person has small sense when they see cane. Have you seen a madman on the street with cane? You bring cane to flog the madman, they run. So you think they are mad, but when it comes to punishment, they know to remove themselves. So when you are feeling excited about a child because you're sick, and you remember that if I do this, I will either be killed immediately or castrated physically, then you will hold yourself.
So it brings us back to this issue of when a democracy, we have to follow due process. Because I've always said that, I've always made the point that maybe we're not yet ripe for democracy because we have a lot of people who need whipping. They don't need a court procedure. They don't need 3 months of going back and forth to the court. They need to be whooped, castrated or killed immediately. But are we there? I mean, if we do that, we're going years back.
I don't think that democracy is the problem. I think that it is, like when I started, I said with cultural science and the fact that there's no justice. So it's about a system saying that in this country, we will not reward these kind of behaviors. So even within, democracy is the government of the people by the people. And in democracy, there's no set rule for democracy. Is that if all of us have said that we, the people of Nigeria, have said that this is what we're doing. America is a country of democracy. They allow guns. People go crazy. They shoot. They still allow guns. Another democracy in this world have said that we will not allow people to go crazy. We will not give them guns. So if you go crazy, you have only knife. Your damage is little. So you can, as a people in this country, knowing this is the crisis that we have over 11, just this is the documented cases, that no, we don't want these things to happen again. So we're going to create a law in our democracy that allows us to mete out justice in a shorter time to serve as a stronger deterrent for people committing this kind of crime in our society. Full stop. In democracy, you've got to be done.
State had tried to, he does the name and shame. I think the design is that law. I'm not sure what the sanction is for somebody who actually commits a crime, but I know that they have the name and shame where you put your names out there and you can't get the job anymore.
Also, special courts that will allow faster procedures.
Just wanted to add, to agree with you that democracy is not the problem. It's the abuse of the process that's the problem. So we have courts, we have lawyers, we have a process where you would go through, you'll be arrested by the police, you go through that process and then prosecuted, you go to jail. But what has happened is that there's abuse of that. You are paying or begging people to let you go free. People of influence are standing in for you and allowing you go free. So that is not democracy. Democracy would see to it that you get punished for your bad behavior. But when people get in and circumvent, that process, that is the problem. So the problem now is on us. And the reason why we always come out to beg and ask for someone to be forgiven or turn a blind eye towards someone's misbehavior is because we feel culturally some things, it's a family issue, we should not talk about it. Outside. He's a man, how would you want to treat that man like that? He's part of our group, we're an association of this person, and you have called out, how dare you call out one of our own in order to punish you for daring to call out someone for their bad behavior. We'll make sure you never get a job again in this industry or something like that. So those are the ways culturally and as a people with our mindset where encouraging this sort of behavior.
But let me take Dr. Imoya from Oyo. Good morning, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, you see, one of the reasons why sexual violence has increased lately. It has always been there. But one of the reasons it has escalated is because we have a culture of impunity. If I know that I will get away with a crime, I will do it. That's what people have been doing. They'll say, hey, you know what I'm there. Then number two, family. Family is very important, but we really downplay the value of families. When a child goes to the mother to complain that somebody raped her, the mother will say, just keep quiet, just keep quiet. If you make noise about it, if you go and report to the police, they'll say, oh, you've been raped. Don't you want to get married? And there is this stigmatization. They'll say, okay, she has been raped, man of fair, maybe she has HIV, maybe she has STDs or things like that. So we have a culture that enables rape with the continuous rape allegations. So please, I think this issue has to do with more of culture and family-related.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Moy. See, the point, I'll come to you, because the point I was trying to make earlier was the fact that the democracies that we admire today, at some point, were hanging criminals.
Yes.
They will hang the criminals. There was some point where they had
firing squad.
They also had death penalty.
Yeah.
But because after people begin to get adjusted to the fact that, okay, this would happen if I do this, gradually the new generation of people coming into they're giving birth to a new generation realize, okay, this is how we do things in this world. So we are just waking up to the new democracy where there's some stringent measures we need to take to get to that point where we know that, okay, we are a new generation of Nigerians who play by the rules. Yeah. But this is what Nigerians that we're seeing today. They don't know what rules are. They don't know what, they don't care. There's impunity. So you need some stringent measures to get everybody to align.
I agree with you, Mariah. And also the fact that we have not been allowed to progress at our own pace.
Yes, copy and paste.
Yeah, so if we had progressed at our own pace, we would have adopted some of those stringent measures. And as people are beginning to adjust, we now relax them. Yes. But now you just releasing, children out in an open playground. You didn't put any restrictions for cars or anything, and then you just let them run away, and everybody's struggling to survive and all of that. But I wanted to talk about our prison system, which is lacking in this regard. We don't have places where these sort of people are being properly helped to solve their issues, so that when they are finally released into the society, they don't have a problem. We also have a major problem of drugs. If you see the people that carry out most of these acts are under the influence. We see young people who take all manner of things, and when you're consistently high, what else are you looking for? You will see a baby, and the baby will turn to an adult in your eyes. So if we can, and I like what the NDLEA is doing right now, if you can solve the issue of drugs, we may have a reduction in some of these rape cases.
Okay, we have to wrap up on this, but I think, on a nutshell, it's a conversation we're going to keep having, and what we need are just, yes, you catch them, but what happened afterwards? I think that's the real question. Are they being rehabilitated? Are they being they're not being castrated, but
do we still allow settle out of court?
Because some of these guys are released back into society.
Do we allow settle out of court?
Yeah, so it's the measures, and that's why the lawmakers have tried to get the gender equality bill. I know it has passed second reading, but we need this bill to be passed
into law,
so that people who are raped or who are going through sexual violence can get real justice. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, thanks for staying with us. So before we move on to our next topic, I know we had some comments for the rape case we talked about earlier. Go ahead, Mariam.
So Black Diamond says, I think religion has done a lot of harm in this matter than any other cause. Bilkey says, the hush-hush culture needs to be discarded. The victims are castigated while the perpetrator is protected. Anyone caught should be allowed to face the law, family ties irrespective. The society needs to stop protecting criminals. A rapist is a criminal. Someone says also for an all-encompassing discourse, boys too should be allowed to speak up and not shut down. A lot of men now in their adult years were abused as kids, and they're still living the trauma of silence. Children, gender irrespective, need protection.
That's an important point. When we talk about rape, we always forget the boy child who gets raped. So
and they also
a lot of them, and it affects them, their adult life, and it's a really, really
the more vicious part is that they get into that loop if they don't get mental treatment, and that's something we don't emphasize on a lot. That if somebody has survived this evil, they should or experience this evil, they should get mental treatment, because most men that perpetrate rape tend to be ones that also
received it.
So the loop continues unless we find a way to disrupt it. I was listening to someone's account of him crossing the road in Dubai, and he was asked to go for mental evaluation. Like, it wasn't just about the being fined for you trying to cross an expressway, but it's the fact that there must be something wrong for you to, when you try to commit suicide. Okay. And so the same thing, we must just, when we see people do some things, we should have like a system of...
Yes, everybody's mad in Lagos.
You know, we should definitely check what is going on in people's minds regularly, so that we can reduce it. So that, and I also wonder, we have like psychologists, people study psychology in university, people write theses of psychology, like what's the research done? Because
they end up in the banks.
Yes, they end up getting any job to survive. But there are many people that their entire life abroad is to research the reason people do the things they do, understand how to now hack the mindset to produce the results they desire in their society. Right. And we need to start having such level of study here that this 11,000 people, let me do my thesis. I'm going to go to the court, to all the, I'm going to get funding. They go to all prisons and interview every rape convict to understand why did you do what you did. Do you have remorse? What's going on in your mind? And they come up with a new solution on how we can deal with it, but we are hungry. Yeah.
Just like the HIV guy in Nigeria. Yes. So there was a solution for HIV and nobody answered him.
Now, so the team be.
Yeah.
Are we moving on? We're still on this.
Let's move on. So there's another...